Okay, so what I found helpful when I was getting ready for my debate with George Selgin on this stuff is Salerno is, he's kind of just taking a middle ground here, and he's saying, look, I'm not talking about the fraud stuff. What I want to focus on are the economic consequences of fractional reserve banking. So whether you think it's fraudulent or not, the undisputed matter, Salerno thinks, in the Austrian tradition is that issuing what's called fiduciary media, so let me just tell you that phrase. So fiduciary media, this comes out of the Misesian treatment of money in banking. The idea is that there's these things called money substitutes. So you've got the real money, like gold, let's say gold coins, and then a money substitute would be a claim on the money that everybody is sure is defensible, is going to be redeemed, and it's immediate. So it's not something saying I owe you 10 gold coins in 12 months. It's saying the owner of this piece of paper can present it at any bank branch, let's say, and immediately receive 10 gold coins. So that would be a money substitute. Now, within the class of money substitutes, there's money certificates, which are backed up 100% by reserves in the vault, and then there's fiduciary media. So if a bank issues, so if people put 1,000 pounds of gold, let's say, on deposit with one bank, and they issue out claim tickets to 1,100 pounds of gold, then 100 of those tickets, or 100 pounds worth of those tickets, would be fiduciary media. Okay, so and it's also called credit expansion when a bank does that. When it issues new fiduciary media entering the economy, that's what Mises calls credit expansion. Okay, so Salerno is saying credit expansion is what sets in motion the boom-bust cycle in Austrian business cycle theory. Now, I think actually you guys haven't seen that lecture, right? Isn't that later? Is it today or tomorrow from Garrison on Austrian business cycle theory? Okay, so don't be confused, and this is something that I wasn't even fully cognizant of until later on, is that there's a tendency, and I would do this, like if I'm on a radio show talking about the housing bubble, I would spend most of my time talking about what Alan Greenspan did and then Ben Bernanke did, and it leads you to believe the Austrian business cycle is about central bank policy. So certainly central banks can exacerbate it, but Mises developed his theory of the business cycle even before the Federal Reserve existed. And the U.S. had business cycles, financial panics or depression with a small d, before then, like in the 1800s. So Mises clearly thought the business cycle was not merely something that central banks caused. It was something inherent in a certain practice in the banking sector, which, of course, central banks amplified and exaggerated. But the point is, Austrian business cycle theory and the way Mises and Hayek developed it is not about central banks screwing things up. It's about how if there's credit expansion, that can make interest rates artificially low. Okay, so that's what Salerno says. That's really the technical economic issue at play here. Sure, let philosophers and legal theorists also debate the legality or the possible morality, what have you, of fractional reserve banking, but I, Joe Salerno, I'm an economist. That's what I'm talking about here.